Okay, now let's look at question number 3, which is on page 91. We're going to look at Elizabeth. Elizabeth wants to send her mom truffles for Mother's Day. Truffles are a type of candy, chocolate candy. It cost C dollars to send a box of T truffles, where, and here's an equation given to us, C is equal to 190, 1 and 90 hundredths, or maybe that could be $1.90, times T plus 795. Right, 7.95, 7 and 95 hundredths. We're not quite sure what these numbers mean just yet, but maybe they're related to dollars because they're showing 2 decimal places in that. So, and since we're talking about cost, so these could be related to dollars here, but let's explore a little bit more here. So, question A says, make a table of values showing the charges for a box of 8 truffles, 12 truffles, or 30 truffles. Okay, so a box, that tells me that there's going to be one box that contains either 8 or 12 or 30. And so let's see. So using our equation here, we're going to build a table of values. So let's pick a color. I'll pick blue. And we're going to make a table like we've done in the past. Now, recall that our independent value goes on the top and our dependent goes on the bottom, and the dependent is often what we want to know. And in this equation, T is our independent. We can choose the number of truffles, but C is the dependent. The cost of the box depends on how many truffles we choose. Okay? So we're going to start with 8 truffles, and the way we can find that is by putting 8 into the equation for T, and we end up with 190 times 8 plus 795, and if you do that, we will get $23.15, since this was actually dollars. We were told that those were dollars. All right. Put in that number 8 in for T, do 190 times 8 plus 795, right? And that will give us $23.15. Let's repeat that for a box of 12. Okay, 190 times 12 plus 795 is going to give us $30.75. Right? And you can check this by multiplying and then adding the 795. We'll do one more for 30 truffles, a box of 30. 30 times 190 plus 795 is going to give us $64.95. Right? There we have a table of values. Right? If we have 3 pairs of information for a box of 8 truffles, 12 truffles, and 30 truffles. Right? We'll come back to that in a little bit. Question B says, what are the units on the 190 and what does it mean in the story? Well, let's think about our equation here. C equals 190 times T plus 795. If you remember back to the previous lesson, the one we were talking about building linear equations, the number that gets multiplied to our independent amount is called our rate of change. That 190 is our rate of change. It's our rate. And since we're getting dollar amounts here, 190 should be dollars. Okay? But it's a rate, so we're comparing it to something else. So rates per what? Rates per what? So it's a dollars per what, I should say. Dollars per what? Well, when we're multiplying by the number of truffles, what we're actually calculating is it's $1.90 per truffle. If we were just sending a box of a single truffle, I don't know who would do that, but if we wanted to send a single truffle, it would only cost us $1.90. So that's our rate of change. This is our rate. Okay, our unit rate. Let me rewrite. Let me put unit rate on there. Let me put unit rate. This is our unit rate. This is how much one truffle would cost. Called our unit rate. Our rate of change, or our slope. It's even our slope. We've talked about slope before. It's how fast the numbers change. Question C says, what are the units on 795? Well, if our total C is dollars, 795 must also be dollars. But what could that be? What could that be? What could 795 represent? Well, think about sending things through the mail or buying things. You know, it could be that this $7.95 could be shipping cost. Right? It could be. To me, that makes sense, that could be the shipping cost. So $7.95 could be the shipping cost, and the $1.95 is the cost per truffle. So how much does it cost to ship a box? Well, $7.95 is what it would cost for that. Then we pay the additional for truffles. All right, now here comes the fun part. Make a graph illustrating the cost of sending truffles. All right, so we're going to use decimals. We're going to skip over doing this by hand. We're going to go ahead and use decimals. And so if you remember, getting to decimals, we started our class page, go to the math page, and we can go right to decimals here. Click on decimals, open it up, start graphing. And because we already have that nice equation given to us, we can go ahead and type that right in. C is equal to 190 times T plus 795. And it gives us a line on the graph right away, which we can then play with. We can then play with that and adjust it as we need. Right? We can adjust it and say, okay, I want to start at 0. I need to go to a different scale factor. I need to go, okay, I don't need to go that far over. I need to go over to, let's say, just 30. And my cost, so since our x-axis is our independent, that is the number of truffles, and our y-axis would maybe start at 0, and we would go up to, let's see, we had up to $65. And there's an example of our graph. Starting at 0 right here, that would be our $7.95. We have our 8 truffles right there. We have our 12 truffles. So let me get that right on there. And then our 30 truffles, which is off the screen here, but I can always drag it over. 30 will be right about there. Not exactly on the lined up, but close enough. $64.95 if we were to mark that on there properly. I can change scales and things like that. If I do that, here's an example of what it would look like. If I have it all nice and neat. Okay, I've got $23.15 for 8. 12 truffles is $30.75, and over here on the right, 30 truffles is $64.95. You can actually get to this graph. I've linked it on our algebra page here. It's right down here under the highlighted in yellow question number 3 graph. You can click on that, and it will open up this graph for you. You can take a look there. All right, let's go back, and we do one more. Let's finish question E. If Elizabeth was charged $53.55 for the box of truffles she sent to her mom, how many truffles were there? Set up and solve an equation to answer the question. Well, this is going to be very similar now to the last question, question number 1. We know the total cost, $53.55, right? And we know that is the total cost that she had to pay. And we know that that is going to be the C in our equation. And since I'll recopy the equation down here. Let's try that again. $7.95. We'll put in $53.55 for that amount, And now we're going to work backwards, just like we did with the truck equation, to calculate how many truffles were in that box. And I'm going to split the left side and right side again. We're going to take off the shipping cost of $7.95. Okay, on the right side, those go to 0. On the left side, we're left with $45.60. And that's going to be equal to the 190 times the number of truffles. If we divide both sides by the 190, divide both sides by 190 to get down to a single box, like 1T. That didn't come out very nicely. Let's try that again. We get a single T. We get, not approximately equal to, it is exactly equal this time, 24. So that means this box had 24 truffles in it. 24 truffles. That was the answer to Elizabeth's box there. That's how many she shipped in this particular box. All right.